All
All right, what's up,
right.
guys?
We are
Welcome to our show
here.
tonight. We have myself, Greg, Brian. It's my first time hosting, so we'll figure it out.
Yes.
Um, we're going to kind of put together a couple things tonight. We're going to talk about the draft. We're going to talk about the PJ Tucker news that dropped a few hours ago. We just saw late breaking news. Omer Yurtseven will be playing in Summer League, so we may have instant reaction to that. Obviously, big news there. We'll do a little bit of reflecting. June 20th is a big day in Miami Heat history, probably the biggest day in Miami Heat history. So we'll look back at the 2006 and 2013 NBA championships. And then we're going to talk a little bit of transaction talk. We've been doing that a lot lately, so we're going to kind of push that to the end, and we'll definitely take suggestions, trades, comments, and stuff from the crowd as we go through that. So please fill out the comments and all those things as we go through. So we're going to start off with the June 20th talk. So June 20th, famously, Pat Riley said he was only bringing one suit to Dallas. We got the championship on June 20th in Game 6. Then 2013, obviously, it took a Game 7 after the Ray Allen shot. So I want to kind of send it around the panel. What do you guys remember? Let's start with Brian. With the 2006, the first championship in Heat history, what do you remember about that? I won't ask anybody how old they are because I know me and Greg will have to show our age right there. But
That's nice.
Hey, it is what it is. Brian, go ahead.
I also want to say the Yurt news was so shocking that Tony just dipped out of the entire live. Right when you said Yurt was playing in Summer League. Like, Yurt is already shaping up the Miami Heat summer. I'm getting some feedback. I think that's from Tony, but no biggie. We're live. It is what it is. 06. So I saw the highlights of Game 6 not that long ago, actually. I don't remember what I was watching it for, but YouTube just knows I like watching basketball highlights and shit. And I forgot how good UD really was throughout the course of that series, which is something that I was reminded of recently when I went back and watched it, because I saw 6 and I was like, let me see part of Game 3, let me see part of this, let me see whatever. And UD was nice in that series. Dwayne Wade was just sensational. And I remember and I'm going to toss this back because a lot of people, and I imagine y'all were getting annoyed at this, were making the Jason Tatum 2022 to Dwayne Wade 2006 comparisons. And having seen Dwayne Wade very recently, just on YouTube, like I said, it was not the same. I'll say that much. It was not really that close either.
Hell no, it wasn't close. I mean, that's just that was one of the more, sometimes you just got to realize Twitter is like this little vacuum of opinions and it's not reality, because for that to get floated around as an actual talking point, it's hard to believe that that's reality. But here we are. 06 was crazy. There's moments leading up to the championship that I think Heat fans that had been around, okay, I'll show my damn age. I was 40. I'm 40 now. So you can imagine in 06, whatever that made me, I was in, whatever, my 20s. Can't do that math right now. That's too much math. I'm trying to add up these contracts and where they're going to go. I can't do this math. No, but Jay Will's 10 for 10 or whatever that was against Detroit leading up to the championship. Them actually getting to the finals was just this absolute, there was this part of it where you felt you couldn't believe you were actually on that stage. It was also something Shaq promised us. So he was fulfilling that promise, even though he didn't have a great finals. I think people sometimes forget that he dominated the Chicago Bulls early in that run. And 06 and 13 are both runs. And I guess I'll say this with a straight face and confidence. Those are the only two that actually had me emotional enough to shed a tear. The Spurs win was different. It didn't evoke that type of emotion, but the other two did. So I find that as a differentiation, even though obviously the 2013 title is looked at as Miami's most prolific group. I think the other two are closer to the heart.
Yeah, Tony, what do you remember from that 06 championship? You were probably in fourth grade, but what do you remember, man?
An 11-year-old doesn't remember too much about the moment. All right. I was playing NBA Courtside 2 featuring Kobe Bryant on my Nintendo GameCube. That was my life. That's all I did. That's all I knew about basketball at the time. when you look at that 06 run in perspective now with context, having an expansion team get to the finals that quickly and to execute a win on that stage so fast, it meant everything for the franchise now in retrospect. And when people ask me what they thought the most important finals was, I'll always tell them 06, even though I don't remember it, right? Because of what it meant and how important it was for the franchise. And it put Miami on the map as this icon organization that we have today, where we have dudes like Kevin O'Connor and Mark Stein today, even though every free agent, every acquisition looks like a long shot that everyone's talking about, still going, Miami can do anything because we don't even know how they made the Jimmy Butler math work. And that's just the truth. And it all came off the back of Pat Riley coming here and 2006. But that 2013 championship, boy, let me tell you, I ran down the street after the Ray Allen shot. I grabbed a pot and I grabbed a wooden spoon and I ran down my street with my shirt off, just banging it. I knew we won. I knew we won a championship at that moment. I knew. And the emotions and the feelings I have made me fall in love with basketball right there. I was a fan of basketball, but I'm from Philadelphia, so the Eagles unfortunately run through my veins and I can't get rid of them no matter how hard I try.
Sean.
But I fell in love with basketball that day. Sean understands.
Yeah, it's a passionate sports city. We got a couple people in the chat that have shared, how they were, what they remember. I kind of have a similar experience to Greg. Like, I think with both of us being a little bit older and remembering actually living through the times of like Glenn Rice and Brad Lohaus and Khalid Reeves and Kurt Thomas and, like that, the shining moments were like Glenn Rice dropping, what was it, like 50 something on the Magic
on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, like that type of stuff was like all you had. And then you have those moments like 95 when Pat and Zoe came, you kind of knew it was about to change. And then when the Shaq trade, well, actually before that, when the Wade draft happened, I actually was working for Heat Camp and we worked the draft party. And that moment, like it sinks to me, like I remember the energy in there. I remember him getting up on the Jumbotron from the draft and being like, yo, it's going to change. We're going to do all this. And like, he had that energy to him, even from day one when you didn't even know what he was going to be about. And then same thing. Go ahead.
My dumb ass wanted Kirk Heinrich. So like, I'll go on record as saying that like, I was one of those cats that was like, well, yo, I mean, we're paying Eddie Jones like a max deal. Like, what are you going to do? You got to feel like, so that shows you how much I knew. Cause obviously the minute that Dwayne got on the court, like the first summer league moment that you looked at him just like operate in that space, you knew, oh shit, he was a ball player. And then just to ascend so fast, literally in 06, and I'm sure we can bounce around after this. I don't mean to hog the memory lane talk, but yo, Dwayne was Jordan to Heat fans. Like literally, there were moments throughout the first run in 05 where they came up short, and then 06 where they got to the mountaintop. And then after that, even when the team was kind of downtrodden and had some years where they were 4 or 5 seeds, you felt like Dwayne could do anything. He was capable of anything. And that like was also a level of hope that I don't know Heat fans had ever had prior to that. Like Alonzo Mourning was awesome. He's one of my favorite players ever, but he didn't do the things that Dwayne did.
Let me ask you a question for you two in particular. With Jimmy, I have like this deep connection of watching him play and fight for this franchise, right? I caught the tail end of Dwayne, and I love Dwayne a lot, but it doesn't quite feel the same that it feels for Jimmy. When you guys watch Jimmy now, and you've been through Wade from the point that we drafted him, are the emotions similar, or does it still kind of feel like maybe not mercenary vibes because Jimmy's ingrained in the culture, but just like a guy you really like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, no disrespect to Jimmy, but it's not the same. I think
Right.
Part of it is because Dwayne was ours from the beginning, and I know he left temporarily, but like, look, man, like he's ours. Jimmy has been in other stops. He's done other things. I think that's the big difference. Now, this could shift and come back in a couple of years. Jimmy wins a championship. Now we're changing our story a little bit, but I still don't think he can ever pass Dwayne in the hearts of
no. See, but that's the beauty of it. It's different, and that's what's cool. It's like Dwayne came and it was like, oh, so now like we're actually going to become relevant nationally. Like it was like we were a show to be like that Shaq and Dwayne stuff. Jimmy came and it was different. He was picking up a franchise that was going in the wrong direction. Zach Lowe said they had the bleakest future and all that kind of stuff. So there is an element of what Jimmy did to kind of revive the franchise that I think is a cool story. And it's just different than the way Dwayne did it. And that's what's dope about each era of team building and all that kind of stuff. So it's actually cool that Tony says he's closely connected to Jimmy in that way, because it shows how each era connects to the team. And there are some franchises where nobody connects to any of the players and everybody's just kind of meh about everybody for decades. And we could find a few teams if we want to point them out.
Sacramento.
Let's shift gears and talk about the 2013 finals. So we spent some time talking about 2006, 2013. Obviously, you know, the second championship, 2013 was the third. The second championship was won on the 21st, which would be tomorrow. So talking about the 2013 championship, obviously a lot of people remember the Ray Allen shot, Game 6, the ropes, and all that stuff. But Game 7 was also huge. I mean, it was a very competitive game. It was probably one of the best NBA games, NBA Finals games in recent history. What do you guys remember about that championship? Let's start with Brian again.
That's another thing that I went back and saw recently. Game 7, closer than I remembered also. And part of me also forgot that there was one, because after that shot, it was like, yo, wait, they have to play another game? What I remember, and for people who weren't here at the very beginning, we're going to get to all the current shit very shortly, just in case you're wondering why we're going down memory lane here. Because people might see the title and be like, yo, what the fuck? Stay calm. We're going to get there. So the 2013, the only thing I could point out about is, like, I remember going to school around this time and motherfuckers hated the Heat. Like,
Yeah,
a lot of, or really loved them. What was really annoying in particular was in 2K, when you tried to go head to head with people online, a lot of people would use the Heat, whereas before they would use Cleveland a lot because they were just, you know, riding LeBron wherever he went. That shit was annoying. But in terms of that championship, I remember thinking like, yo, they're probably never going to lose again because they won back to back. And it was like, shit, they have LeBron, like they could just re-sign him at some point. Obviously, we know how that ended up going. And I just, that was a time where I was like, oh, they're like a legit like power in the NBA in terms of having 3 titles in, 24 years or something like that at that point in their franchise's history, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it'd been 88 to 2013, so whatever that meant.
Yeah, like 25 years basically to have 3 titles and, you know, 5 trips at that point, or 4 trips at that point, whatever the math is. I'm getting my math all fucked up. But that solidified it for me to like, oh, this franchise is like legit. And the other thing that did was shortly after that was when LeBron left, this franchise is the only one that when LeBron left, they actually stayed afloat. They weren't contenders. And if Chris Bosh doesn't have his situation, who knows? But they weren't contenders, but they didn't go into the tank like the Cavs did twice. And like the Lakers, not the Lakers, like the Cavs did twice. And, you know, with the Lakers, they haven't been able to sustain their run. They had one season that started off well. LeBron got hurt. They had the title, and they've been down ever since. And this franchise being able to just remain afloat and just make it work until Jimmy Butler ended up getting here, then that said a lot to me.
It was something about the whole year of 2013 after, you know, the adversity that they went through in their first year together. And it was something about the OKC championship not quite feeling like what the depth of the team could accomplish, right? It just didn't feel that way. We kind of just beat OKC very easy. There was those moments against Boston, yeah, and those final in the playoff run to get there, but it didn't feel like the highest level of basketball. But the San Antonio Spurs felt like the highest level of basketball opponent that team could face together in one shot. So when I'm trying to not laugh at Brian dying right now.
No, that was a great comment, Jose. That Boston won 1 title since the Heat existed. That's fucking crazy.
It's very true.
Because before this happened, before
Very true.
before the 2022 finals happened, people were like, "Oh, the Celtics are gonna get their 18th title." And then I went and looked it up. I was like, they've had 4 since the merger, and the merger is very significant in NBA history, if you know that. 3 during the Larry Bird era, and then the one with KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. That's it. Just 4 since the merger. And they want to act like, you know, they have 18 titles or whatever, when a lot of them were against, you know, we don't have to go into it. You want some titles with like 8 teams in the league. Like, come on.
They bought one in the modern era. That's what they got. That's it.
Anyway, that was a great comment, Jose. That was funny.
What you forget about 2013, not just the win streak, but you forget about LeBron's 61 piece against the Bobcats. Like, and that beat Glenn Rice's playoff scoring record that year. You forget about all the pieces that started to check boxes where, like Brian said, you thought this was the greatest team that ever walked the planet. Those conversations about the Bulls and the 85 Celtics, like we had those conversations all the time about who the best team in the world was. And it felt like the Miami Heat were the absolute best team that's ever played basketball. And they come up against the Spurs. And honestly, the first 4 games swing back and forth like a pendulum while coaches feel each other out and matchups work each other out. And then when you get to game 5, 6, and 7, these games get tight. It was the best basketball I've ever got to experience as a fan. Just 2 supremely talented teams with excellent coaches playing X's and O's in ways that I've never seen team play X's and O's before. That 2013 finals, man, it felt like everything that team was supposed to be, and it had an opponent that made them set up to be the heroes that I thought they were supposed to be. When you beat an OKC, you don't feel like Goliath. You don't feel like Ali Frazier. It doesn't feel like that. But when you play the Spurs, it felt like that. And that was the moment that team was created to have. And man, did they kill it on the biggest stage.
Greg, what do you remember about the 2013 title?
It became more valuable to me as time went on in retrospect than it happened in the moment. Honestly, I had a totally different experience than Tony. The OKC title was so much more because there was this gigantic relief of that. It was like a validation of them coming together because the first run came up short and the whole world hated them and they laughed. It was the worst summer ever. So then when they actually got to the championship and they closed the deal, there was this sense of relief that was not there for the next one because you felt like you were starting to build a little bit of gravy, where it's like, how many do you really expect to win? And obviously we expect to win every year as fans because we're fanatical, but that's not necessarily realistic. But now in retrospect, when you look back at the whole body of work, it becomes kind of it's a pillar in Heat history as one of the greatest moments because of where it ranks in league history as a team, as an individual performance from LeBron, Ray Allen's shot being one of the most crazy clutch shots in NBA Finals history. So like now the winning streak in retrospect, like that is now a really big deal. Who knows when we'll see another team do that. So to me, like that's how it's weird how we all have these different experiences because they were the mighty Spurs. You're totally dead on there. Like there was a different quality of victory against San Antonio. But man, that one against OKC was just such a sigh of relief because we had so much pressure mounting on them, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think, you know, looking at the Spurs championship at the time, it was like we expected. It was just going to happen. It's going to keep happening. Like Brian said, we were just going to keep winning. And I feel like that's why 2014 was such a punch in the gut because you just thought it was going to be a three-peat. Like this is what's supposed to happen. We're going to win 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And then we just got ran off the floor, man, in 2014. You know, I was going to add in 2013, I was at game 6. I drove down for the game the Ray Allen shot, the picture that's usually used from the opposite baseline, his release, my body is like right above it. I'm like standing there, like very stoically crossed, like in fear of what's about to happen. I didn't leave like a lot of people. I know that did happen. It definitely did. There's no denying that. But when that thing went in, and I had a good enough angle that you could almost tell it was going in, and then obviously you got Norris jumping around. It was wild. I don't think I've ever been at a place that wild in that very moment. I've been at wild environments. You know, the Boston game 6 a few weeks ago. I went to a bunch of the Detroit games when they were playing in 06 and 05. Those environments was nothing like that, whatever couple minutes right after Ray hit that shot. So I want to reference something real quick. We're gonna kind of transition and talk about Biscayne Bay Brewing. I don't know if we're gonna get the tweet up on the screen, but I put a poll earlier today. Which of the two championships, 2006 or 2013, is more important to Heat history? You can vote on that. It's on Biscayne Bay Brewing. They're one of our sponsors. Great beers they have over at Marlins Park. You can check them out. Me and Tony often control the account, so we throw stuff up there about the Heat. We try to put some stuff up there about the Marlins. It's just kind of tough, man. It's not a whole lot of content coming out of there. But yeah, here we go. Here's the tweet. So holiday for the Heat, as we've been talking about. Which of those two? I think right now it's like 82% for 2006. It's our first one. I thought it would be a little closer, but I think, it's a momentous occasion. We've talked about it on both sides. And I think to Greg's point, it's a lot about your perspective. If you weren't alive for 2006, I think those people maybe lean more 2013. But I think those of us that were alive for both, I think 2006 is probably where I would lean also. We're going to transition off of the June 20th talk, and we got Greg for just a couple more minutes. He's a hardworking man. He's going to go record 5 on the floor, probably talk about some PJ Tucker stuff, but we're going to do that after Greg leaves. We want to talk about the draft a little bit tonight. We had that as our title. We haven't talked about the draft at all after 20 minutes. So Greg has sort of a working list of guys that are have worked out with the Heat. My first question for you guys, 27th pick. Do you think we should keep it? And we're not going to talk about who they're going to use it on. Just should they keep it or should they trade down? I'm not talking about trade it for a player or anything like that. Keep it or trade down into the second round. Which of those two options? I'll start with Brian once again.
In 2019, the Nets traded out of the first round and got Nick Claxton in the second round. And the reason they did that was to open up some cap space because second round contracts are built differently than first round contracts. And you have a little bit more flexibility in terms of how you can do that and, guarantees and whatnot and things of that nature. So I think, yes, you trade out of the first round for business reasons. And because honestly, if any team does not need a first round pick, this team has turned guys into first round pick equivalents, from undrafted guys to cast-offs from other teams and things of that nature. So yes, I think in short, you definitely trade back into the second round. Maybe you pick somebody up there, maybe you don't, but I don't think they need a first round pick, even if you just trade back 4 or 5 spots. And I have some names that we can get to, but we could save that for later.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Yeah. What I should have set up to is that the reasoning for this, and Brian alluded to it, is drafting in the first round. It's more years guaranteed. It's more money guaranteed, which could be a good thing if you're trying to use this in a trade in a few weeks when they sign their deal. The other thing about that is if you trade into the second round, it's 2 years. It's not guaranteed. There's a little bit less financially associated with it. So that's why we're kind of doing this exercise first, and then we'll talk players. Tony, what do you think? Keep it or trade down?
I don't think you have too many options. From 11 to about 32, the talent gap from 1 to 7, it's completely different. Anybody that you're picking up in the first round around 27, you probably can find similar talent somewhere in the second round, if not with undrafted talent. I think there's one move that every single one of us would like the team to improve with that 27th pick.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
I assumed we would, so I was gonna tease, but I have some names for 27 if we do want to go to that direction. And here's the thing: what outweighs all of us is if the Heat think they have a guy that fits what they're building right now. I trust them more than I ever trust me to understand cap and talent acquisition. So, like, if there's a dude that they see on their book and we draft at 27, I got full faith in what they're going to do. But I think that the right move and the move that they're going to make too is trade back, if not trade out completely.
All right, so I'm going to send that question to Greg. I'll make it a 2-parter. I'm not Brady. I'm not Alex. I'm not a trained professional. You're not supposed to do 2-part questions. So, Greg, should we keep it? Should we trade down? And if we keep it, who will we be looking at? What are you hearing? Maybe some rumbles about different guys.
So I think that they would be wise to trade down because the roster charge just for like an incomplete roster spot or a non-guaranteed guy, I think is like $900K. and the roster charge for the 27th pick is $2.2 million. So you just have a little bit more to operate with, is in terms of getting away from hard caps and all kinds of different stuff. I don't know. So there's just a part of me that feels like you can trade, get the same value in the second round, and that makes a ton of sense. If they do stay at 27, if there was going to be a player that I would say kind of fits the mold, I don't know that he's really that's the thing. The guys I've heard that are closely connected to Miami are not necessarily guys that are being mocked at 27. So that's why it's kind of hard to wrap my head around who they would go with. They've scouted guys that I can name for you, but they're second round picks. Alabama guard Keon Ellis. They've watched him all season. Like, that's a guy to watch, but there's a lot of mock drafts where he doesn't even get drafted. Marquette forward Justin Lewis is another guy. But I don't really see the I don't see the guy in that range that I've heard consistently enough to make me think that they're going to stick around that pick. But who knows? Somebody could fall, something like that. I have a feeling that they're going to trade back.
Is there anybody you've heard about in the second round or maybe undrafted type guys? I know you've tweeted out lists. So if you guys, I was going to say too, like, if you're not following Greg, you're not a Heat fan. Or if you're not on the off the floor stuff yet, it's $305 a month. They're putting out stuff all the time, but you're getting stuff before it gets to Twitter, and they're putting out a lot of nuggets and draft stuff and free agent stuff, especially in the next coming weeks. If you might want to just do it for like 1 month, if you only got $305 on you, like, do it for July, because that's the month you need it. So, Greg, what are you hearing about second round undrafted stuff?
Yeah, no, it's kind of these same guys. I think that there's a chance that Colorado forward Jabari Walker could potentially slip through the cracks, and they'd look at him. Oakland guard Jamal Kane, like, nobody's ever even heard of. I've never even watched a YouTube highlight of him. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, but he's on the list. I mean, I'm reporting the information. And then the other guy that got brought up a few times is this Wake Forest forward. But I think he's rising up the draft boards now. He may end up being viable at 27, and that's Jake Laravia. I don't even know how you say this last name. Laravia. I think I'm doing it right. But yeah, he went to Wake Forest, and I know nothing else about him. But those are the names that I've heard most recently.
I know Tony said he had some guys on his list. Or Brian, anybody that you guys have targeted in your scouring of mock drafts and all the draft prep that we've been doing over the last few weeks?
Listen, man. The 30 minutes of prep that I did before this video. Look, if we don't get Lucas Williamson into our summer league camp, I'm going nuts. I've loved that kid. I like his athleticism. I just like the way that he plays that guard spot. I think he fits right into what we were looking for last year with UDFAs, long guards that can do a lot on the floor. Nothing like really well, but they can do a lot on the floor. But at 27, if we pick, I like Bryce McGowan's now. I like Bryce McGowan's a lot. That's a talent. Another dude that I think is kind of draft ready, but still a freshman. Has a lot of space to grow inside of his game. He's athletic. He's got a lot of size. Is 6'7". He's got a good standing reach. He's quoted around Nebraska for having leadership talent coming into the organization as a freshman. That's a really impressive thing. He's just not really great at any one particular skill. He's this jack of all trades. He can play defense. He has an offensive bag. He can play make. He can create. He's long, obviously 6'7", but that's the kind of guy I think they would take. They would need somebody who's a little more NBA ready, who can give you a transferable skill set that allows them to drop in and play a very specific role. In the second round, Greg had all two of my names that I researched for 30 minutes.
I can tell you that Adam Simon is doing a lot more work than Tony Schwartz. Let me send it over to Greg real quick. He's got to bounce because of 5 on the floor, but I know you're going to talk about PJ Tucker. And before you leave, just give the people, I know you can calm people down. You have that power. You're like the voice of Heat Twitter sometimes. Calm people down on this PJ Tucker news. What do you think about it?
You know, it's funny, when I used to have the profile pic with the Riley Godfather Avi, and I was like Lefty Leif, I think this is so arrogant. I bet people hated me for this kind of shit. I put in my Twitter bio, spiritual advisor to the Miami Heat fan. Like, that's the angle I was going for. So I'm glad you caught on to that, Sean. No. why would PJ not opt out? If he gets his just standard raise based on his years of service, he's going to make more money. Like, just like think about your normal job at work. Like if you had to like submit a paper so that you could get your standard increase for the next year, would you turn in the paper? Would you, scan the PDF document and send it, or put it in through the portal of your, company? Like, yes, you would. So it's pretty like standard that he's doing that. I'm not reading into the timing of it at all. I think that I've heard Philadelphia is going to offer their non-taxpayer mid-level. They'd love to have him. That was something that before he opted out, that was an off-the-floor subscriber nugget that got dropped there. So, I mean, there's definitely a market for him, but they can give him 8.2 or so, maybe a bit more than that. Give him 3 years. Security's there. Jimmy loves him. He's wearing his jersey when they were playing in the gym the other day. Everybody relax. They're fine. Here's the key words. They're fine.
All right, Greg, we appreciate it. Good luck with 5 on the floor. I'm sure that'll be out either tonight or early tomorrow morning. So make sure you guys check that out. And we're going to keep it moving, man. We're going to keep it moving. We're going to go back to Brian, see if he has any draft nuggets, and then we'll shift right back to the PJ Tucker talk.
Yes. So Greg mentioned Justin Lewis, who I like very much. If you people who don't know, I'm in Big East country. I'm in New York. These motherfuckers come up to the Garden all the time. The Big East tournament is here every year. I think that's supposed to change at some point, but I hope it doesn't. But whatever. Justin Lewis is good. He has great size for what you're looking for a combo forward. He's 6'7" and about 235. I think almost 240. He's strong. He can shoot. Can shoot threes. Can stretch the floor. Actually shot 35% on 5 threes per game. So that's somebody that I would think that the Heat are going to target at some point. And you have Justin Champagnie. It looks like champagne. It's Champagne. He's from St. John's. He's from around where I'm from. He's from Brooklyn. I'm from Queens, close to Brooklyn. He went to school with Bishop Lachlan. I almost went there. That's another story for another day.
Brian. I got breaking news. Okay.
What's this?
I tweeted at Josh Hart because he was talking about Americanos. And I said, Miami has great coffee. And he goes, yep, I was in Miami drinking Americano when I tweeted this, bro. He's coming. We got him.
Josh Hart?
We got him. Lock him in. Go ahead. I'm sorry for derailing you. We got him.
Josh Hart would be good. Would be a good fit. He's a great rebounder for a guard. And that's something that Pat Riley likes. But Justin Champagnie is somebody who Greg reported that they were interested in him. He also mentioned this on a recent 5 on the Floor episode. That's somebody I think that fits the Heat profile. It's like Justin Lewis, big, strong wing who can play the 3 or the 4, who can shoot. His numbers are not going to look great in terms of efficiency from this past year, but I could tell you that the St. John's team, going through some things in terms of like a lot of change in and out of the lineup, etc. But he's talented. He could score. He has a twin, Justin, that went to the draft last year, went undrafted out of Pitt, and is actually with the Toronto Raptors right now. So you have Julian, you have Justin, and I think that that's somebody else to watch. And then also NBADraft.net, they had the mock the 27 to get Kennedy Chandler, which I found interesting. Kennedy Chandler is like a 6 foot, maybe 6'1" guard out of Tennessee who's very feisty on the defensive end, who could defend, and a lot of people are concerned about his size. I'm telling you, that dude can play, and I think he's going to be pretty good. So there you go.
Yeah, you guys mentioned quite a few of the guys. I'm going to just kind of read through Greg's list over the course of the last few months, really. He's tweeted out these guys. Justin Lewis, forward from Marquette. He looks like a second-round type pick. Anthony Duruji from Florida, another forward. Jabari Walker, another forward from Colorado, first or second-round pick. Duruji probably isn't going to get drafted, it sounds like. Jamal Kane is a guard from Oakland. Oakland is not the Oakland in California. It's Oakland. It's in Detroit. Champagnie, or however you say his name, guard forward from St. John's, second-round pick. Musa Diabate is a popular guy. He's like a lanky forward from Michigan. So you have that Juwan Howard connection. He looks like a second-rounder. Keon Ellis was mentioned before by Greg. Blake Wesley, he's a guard from Notre Dame, first-round pick, probably not going to make it down to the Heat. Christian Braun, guard from Kansas, second-round type guy. Jake LaRavia is another guy Greg mentioned, forward from Wake Forest. He's a first-rounder. Josh Minot from or Minot, how do you say it? I
think it's Minot from Memphis.
From Memphis, yeah. I guess a wing, second-round type guy. Quentin Jackson, another guard from Texas A&M. Darion Sebron, guard from the NC State, second-round pick. Sharif O'Neal, forward from LSU, probably an undrafted guy.
He will be an undrafted guy.
Yeah, he was not. He's got a good name, but that's about it.
Yeah.
JD Note.
I also want to add, Sean, real quick. You mentioned was Jamal Kane from Oakland. Miami got somebody from Oakland not that long ago by the name of Kendrick Nunn, if you guys remember him. So, hey man, all I'm saying,
the Lakers would have been if they had him this year, probably in the same spot. Andrew Nemhard, a guard from Gonzaga, probably a second rounder. A lot of people know his name because of Gonzaga's success. And then Lucas Williamson was mentioned earlier, guard from Loyola Chicago. So while I haven't had the time to dig into these guys like Greg, Brady, some of these other people, the commonality I've seen, fours and shooting guards. Mm-hmm. That's the two main things. So you can kind of see where they're going after is fours and shooting guards.
And guys who could play and guard multiple positions for the most part.
Yeah, and I think for the last 3 years, that's what we've seen in every single young prospect that they've wanted, from Jordan Mikey to like Haywood Highsmith, like long defenders that are very versatile, that if they have to play, we can still run our scheme.
Yep. And so we're going to kind of transition back into that PJ Tucker talk. So Greg calmed down, everybody's nerves. I think when people saw the tweet come out from Shams, the reaction was like, he opted out because he is leaving. Like, PJ is gone. He has left us. He's going to like do the whole, what's the thing where the athletes write the letter. It comes out tomorrow. Like, it's going to be this peaceful goodbye. Yeah. Like, that's not what's going on. Like Greg said, it's a business decision. It's like the smart thing for PJ to do. It gives him more options, all those things. So when you're looking at this, there was a really good tweet from Brian Goins, who's from Miami Heat Beat. So PJ, he declined a $7.4 million option. So if he had opted in, that's what he would have made next year. It would have been a 1-year deal. Brian tweeted out, and he's very good with the cap, so I trust his numbers and everything. The Heat could sign him to a $26.46 million 3-year contract. It would be a non-bird, and they're not using their mid-level exception. That's a pretty key note there, because if you can not use the mid-level on him, you can use it for other people. That would break down to be like 8.4 for his first year, 8.82, 9.24 in the third year. You don't have to make those guaranteed, so it could be like team options, partially guaranteed type stuff. So he may not get that full money of $26 million. Greg mentioned most contenders don't have enough money to beat that. He doesn't seem like a guy that you would probably spend more than $8.5 million on, but I guess, he's a guy a contender wants. He's not a guy that like the Kings are going to go grab, or the Pacers are going to go grab with their cap space. So most teams can really only give him like $6.3 million. The only other thing that this really changes is that PJ's probably not going to be involved in any sort of sign and trades or trades that we talk about, when we go down that path. It basically eliminates that if it were ever even a consideration.
Yeah.
So how do you guys think this is going to work out over the next couple of weeks? You think PJ's back? You think there's a certain price level that Miami wants to stay at? How do you feel about that, Tony?
Just run that question to me one more time, because I lost connection.
So I said, with all of that being said, I don't know where you lost your connection, but
PJ Tucker, how you feel?
PJ's extent, PJ opted out. How do you feel about that 3-year deal? Is there a number you wouldn't pay him, or is it like, PJ, we got to have you?
I think the team construction is really important this year. It's so valuable to make sure that you're able to deal with the cap part of it and the completion of the roster part of it. Like, both of those things have to matter. Having the MLE for 2 guys is so freaking important for this team, just because they have no one that fits those mid salary cap numbers. There's no 5, 6, 8, 10, $12 million salary guys. They're not on this roster. It is minimums, or it's 20 millions, not including Duncan Robinson, right? He's the only contract that fills that category. So I love the idea of signing PJ for everything that we can below the MLE. And I don't know where all this outrage has come from, because it's what we've been saying all year. It was always PJ would take the years. It's better for him, the player who's aging. It's better for us, the organization, to split the salary over more years. There's no reason that this deal would ever get done with him opting into his player option. So I didn't get the outrage. I don't know where that came from, or all the frustration or confusion about what was going on. But, Yeah, no, everything short of the MLE, man. I can't give him that. Not this year, not the way that we need every inch of salary, every inch of mechanism to create a 15-man roster that's better than it was last year. But anything short of that, he's getting every single penny.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I didn't understand it. It would have been great for the Heat to get him to just opt in. That would have been best case scenario because you have that lower salary. And, when Greg talked about every 100,000 matters at this point. But this is what it was expected. Brian, what did you think about it?
Yeah.
The PJ thing is very simple to me. As Brian posted in his tweet, you offer him the 3 years, $26 million. And if he tells you to go fuck yourself, I'm going to make more money elsewhere, then so be it, because I'm not using the mid-level exception. If he wants to get, if he can get 40 million for 3 years and have a blast. But, I think that it's going to be a non-issue. I think that they're just going to keep him and he's going to sign for 3 years, 26 million. Maybe the last year is partial guaranteed, which I think that, should be something that the Heat consider, but whatever. Like, you sign him for those years, you're really signing him for that first year of the deal. And then after that, you figure it out because it becomes a tradable contract if you need it anyway. So for me, it's like you get him for the 3 years, 26. Don't use your mid-level exception because they're going to need that to split into two players or potentially get just one if they really want to go that route. But I think it's a non-issue. And if someone else wants to overpay and just pay more money than you can, or than you're willing to, then whatever. You draw a line in the sand, you have your number, and that is what it is. But I think PJ Tucker's coming back because Pat Riley pretty much confirmed that he's coming back in his presser. Like, they're going to have him back. It's just a matter of, are they going to do it with the exception that, or the raise that he's allowed to get, or the mid-level exception? And you're hoping that it can just be the 26 million for 3 years.
Let me ask this to you guys, and you can be short with this. If he's offered that full 3-year contract that Brian tweeted out, 26.4 million, basically 8.4, 8.8, 9.2. But he says, we're not doing partial guarantees. We're not doing team options. I want 3 fully guaranteed years. Yes or no? What do you guys do?
Still do it.
Yes.
Still do it. Whatever. Figure it here. You earned it. We figure it out later. Like, look, this is an organization that it has extended players that they probably shouldn't have in the past or for too long. And they were able to wiggle themselves out of it if it got dark. So, like, just do it, and then you figure it out later. Especially when your president is 77 years old. Like, who cares about 3 years from now at this point?
Multi-purpose contract. The players earned it, and 2, it's a tradable piece. You really need those $8 to $12 million salaries on the roster.
Yeah, I think it's to the point of trading it, because if he's 39 when he's making 9.2 and he's not very serviceable, that's a tradable contract. It's like average salary. I know that sounds like a lot of money, but like, it's an average contract in the NBA at this point. So it is what it is. So I agree on that one too. Guys, we're going to shift it into transaction talk. It's the thing that everybody wants. Nobody wants to hear our memories and reflecting on the 06 and 2013 championship. Nobody really wants to hear about our draft stuff because none of us really have any clue about the draft. So we are going to play a little game. If you guys listen to the Ryan Russillo podcast, I'm kind of stealing their concept. Basically, what I'm trying to do here is I am going to call Tony and Brian as if I am a GM from another team. They are going to act as if they are Pat Riley or whoever you want to think, Spo. And I'm going to propose trades to them. They can choose. They can say yes. They can say no. They can counter. They can hang up the phone on me if they want. But that's how we're going to play it. Are you guys ready?
Absolutely. I've wanted to do this for a minute, so I don't care that it's a bit.
So,
who gives a fuck?
This is what I did. I came up with 14 trades. I went through the trade machine. I think that they're all legit, realistic. I'm not going to call you and try to give you LeBron for Yurt, even though that would be a pretty fair trade for the Heat. I have 14. And if you guys want to jump in the chat as we're doing this, if you have other trades you want us to talk about, we will definitely do that. But I'm going to start with Brian, and I'm going to let Brian pick a number 1 through 14. I have not prepped these guys. They do not know what's coming for them. Everything has been approved in the trade machine, and we'll talk about it from there. Brian, go ahead. Pick a number 1 through 14.
7.
He's going right in the middle, number 7. So are you ready, Brian?
Yes, absolutely.
It's Tim Connolly from the Minnesota Timberwolves. I just got hired. I'm trying to make a bang on my first trade.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm calling Pat Riley. I know I'm calling the Godfather. And this is probably not who I should be dealing with right now. But I got a guy that I think you might like. And I got a guy that likes you. He used to be in your system. You let him go. And he really wants to be in Miami. And this guy, Patrick Beverley, he will not stop talking to me, man. He will not shut up. He keeps calling my phone. He's texting me. He's emailing me. Hey, I want to go to Miami. So I'm going to make a simple trade for you, Brian.
Okay. What's that?
I'm going to give you Patrick Beverley. He's on a 1-year expiring deal. And all I need back is I need that sharpshooter. I need Duncan Robinson.
If I may like think about this out loud for a second, it's a straight up deal. Because like I want to take this. I also want to potentially use Duncan Robinson to get a 4.
And I want to set the stage. This is draft night. It's Thursday. These are when all these calls are happening. And guys in the chat, let us know what you think as we're walking through this exercise. Go ahead, Brian.
Let me get back to you on that. I'm gonna make some calls, but let me get back to you. This isn't a no, but and this isn't one of those fake bullshit sort of like, yeah, I'll call you, but I won't. No, I'm actually gonna call you. I'm gonna let you know, but I'm gonna think about it and mull it over.
And this isn't big bullshit either. I got a lot of people calling me about Patrick Beverley.
That's me as Pat Riley. Me as Brian, it's funny that I picked this number. Me as Brian, I fucking love Patrick Beverley. Okay? Because he's my kind of guy. Still, I would want to see what I can do with the contract in terms of getting a 4, potentially making a bigger deal involving Tyler Hero. So I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna call you back. But this is not a no. This is something we're gonna ponder.
I'm looking through the chat. Not a lot of people in support of that. Tony, give me a number. No 7, but 1 through 14.
Give me 2. This man Brian wanted to trade a 3-year contract for a 1-year rental on a 33-year-old. Brian, we need to talk. We need to have a conversation.
I didn't say yes. I just also didn't say no.
That would be some cap relief. You get out.
He wants.
That's the thing. That's
we get
the thing,
some
son.
draft picks. Hey,
That's the
some
thing.
draft picks. I'll talk about it.
Like,
and you guys can counter with me. I mean, I'll be fair. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, Tony, you ready?
Let's get it.
This is Landry Fields. You might know me from the New York Knicks. I was a superstar quite a few years ago. I got quite a bit of money. But now I'm with the Atlanta Hawks. I'm a new GM. Played you guys in the first round. It was if the refs didn't screw us and if we didn't have everybody hurt, we probably would have pushed you guys. But we only got 5 games and all that stuff you were doing with Trey. It really wasn't fair, I'll be honest with you. But anyways, we're moving forward. We're trying to establish our team as a contender. We were in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then we kind of fizzled out this year. So we got a guy that doesn't really want to be here, and we're not really sure what to do with him. And his name has come up, and you might know this from your broadcast, but he actually is from West Palm Beach, Florida. His name is John Collins. And he's a guy that, has sometimes had some interest in Miami. It's been floated around a little bit. Power forward. I feel like he'd be very good next to Bam. Maybe even the perfect big next to Bam, some would say. So here's what I'm thinking, all right? Brian, you laughing about the perfect big next to Bam?
Yeah, he is.
All right, so listen, I'm talking John Collins here. I got a lot of teams. The Kings are loving him. I don't know what I can get from Sacramento. Sacramento is so dumb though, so I feel like I can rip them off. But I want to come to you guys first. I do like Duncan Robinson. I feel like he'd be a good shooter. You pair him next to Herter, Trae Young, Duncan. I mean, we got shooters out here, man. Like Hassan said, we got shooters in Atlanta now. But I can't just do it for Duncan. I need Yurt. I need that big guy. We might move off of Capella, maybe use him as a backup guy. I also need the 27th pick, but that pick's not doing it for me. I also need a future first, but you can lotto protect it. So here's the trade, Tony. John Collins for Duncan, Yurt, the 27th pick, and a future first that is lotto protected. What do you say? And in the chat, you can let us know what you think too.
I need you to remove that lottery protection. Or
we just extended John Collins. He's got 4 years left on his contract, not including this year. 4 more years. He's at about $23.5 million. He just averaged 16 and 8. Man, he's a good player. He's a good player. And if you look, Pat, I don't know if you know how to use this whole YouTube thing, but in the chat, they are saying, hell yes. Wake up from your nap and make the trade.
As someone who has just woken up more trade prospects on Twitter myself than Pat Riley has done all year. Okay. I'm going to put it out here like this. You're right. John Collins is definitely a piece that deserves an asset. Omer Yurtseven is a young asset. He doesn't have to be involved in this trade. We're doing it to help you fill a need at your center rotation. And he looks like could be a great young developmental piece as an offensive player. If I'm doing this deal, coming out of the character for a second, if I'm doing this deal, I'm not giving up two things to qualify this, to make it work. You have on the other side a Sacramento Kings package. Okay. None of those players are going to be in your system longer than 2 or 3 years. They're going to be there as placeholders and they're going to be out. What I'm giving you is a cost controlled asset in Duncan Robinson, whose contract can be flipped again if you don't like the player inside of your build. And 2, an Omer Yurtseven that can be a young developmental piece to fit in. So I'm not doing that trade with a lottery protection. You want to protect it differently? Maybe we could talk with a lottery protection. No.
So let me peel back a little bit. So you cannot do Duncan for John Collins. The numbers
no.
You have to attach something. So it could be Omer, it could be Gabe, it could be Max. Those are the 3 guys that most likely would be attached.
Ask me to do it with Max. I'll say yes.
Let me go back into the bit then. So if I were to ask you for Duncan with any of those 3 guys plus the 27th, I'll take away my future first lottery protected. Would that be more of a yes?
It's more of a yes. It's more of a yes than Omer. It's just like other teams are going to value Omer the most out of those 3 players. And if I'm playing ball and it's a game, not like what we want as fans, but if it's a game, I'm not giving up young assets that are appealing to other teams and taking a loss on the back end.
While we're walking through this, I'm going to ask Brian the same question. In the chat, those 3 assets, Omer, Gabe, Max, which one are you more willing to trade in any trade, not just this specifically? Which one is the most willing to give up? They're all good at players. We're not trying to get rid of them. We're not trying to cast them off or pack them up or any of that stuff. But which of the 3 would you prefer to give up in these types of trades? But Brian, I'm going to ask you that question. Go ahead.
I think Omer, even though I like him a lot and liked him a lot in college, I think it would be Omer, just because I feel like somebody's going to try to see some value there, and I think they will. I think somebody will talk themselves into he can be a spot starter, a Zubats or somebody like that. So I think Omer.
So in your mind, you're like, somebody's going to convince themselves we have to fleece them, right?
Maybe.
Like sure. He could complete a trade. So we got to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think he's a guy where while I can see him back, I'll put it to you this way. Of those 3 guys, he's the one that I think is most likely to be traded this summer, because I think you can find another one of all of those dudes, but I think you can really find another Omer just because you can find another 7-footer.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I like Omer a lot. Like, I was a dude saying in Georgetown, he could make an NBA rotation. He was very good in the G League, etc. Like, I loved him in Summer League or whatever the case may be. But I think there's a world where maybe, like, because Bam is your center, it's like, all right, the long-term fit, I have questions about that. And Omer could shoot. Like, he has a little bit of a touch. He hasn't showed it that much in the NBA. He has a little bit of a touch, you know? So, yeah.
And to be clear, by the way, Sean, I'm taking this deal. But if I'm an executive, that's kind of how I'm looking at that package.
Yeah, and to come out of role for a second, I think Gabe is the one I wouldn't trade. Then Max, then Omer is the most likely one. And not just about their skill, but if we don't have Gabe, we need a backup point guard. And assuming Kyle is your starting point guard, you have the concerns of him missing games and whatnot. So that's part of it. Max, assuming Tyler's our starting shooting guard, and we can obviously get into if there's trades, but Max is your backup shooting guard. You can find another backup shooting guard. You can find another shooter. We've proven we can do that.
Yeah.
With trading Max and Duncan in the same trade, now you're eliminating, I don't know how many 3s from our total last year. That's hurt. Mm-hmm. Omer, he could not play in the rotation next year. It's very possible. I don't think it's very possible that Max and Gabe, if they're on the team, are not in the rotation in some way. Where Omer, if you have to give him up, you might not be losing any minutes out of your rotation in this situation.
Yeah. I think Omer is going to get a shot to be the backup center next year, as he should if he's still on the roster.
I agree.
I think that he won't play much if he doesn't defend. That was really my only big question about him, because in college you could see there's a shooter's touch there. You could see that he can rebound. You can see that for a big, he's a good passer. You can play him in the high post, and he's somebody who can that can work with Bam if one of them could stretch the floor effectively, preferably both. But that's another story for another day. But like long term, is he somebody who's going to be playing next to Bam? If one of them can't shoot threes, probably not. And that's the question that I have, is whether or not he can knock that down consistently, because he's shown that he has a little bit more of a touch there. And defense, could he hold up? Because one thing Patrick Ewing would get on Omer in college was like, yo, you can score on anybody. You need to be more assertive, more physical, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes for a big ass dude who's actually slimmer now than he was in college, he would play a little bit more of a finesse game that you would want. And that's something that Georgetown had problems with Jesse Govan before him. I think Omer Yurtseven is clearly better, though.
Yeah, and Rob makes a good point. Rob Sports said Depot replaced Gabe. I don't think he replaced him, but he could be that guy if you did trade Gabe, that he could step into that. I'm not a huge Depot guy. I appreciate what he did. I love what his growth was in the story, but I don't trust him quite as much. So I want to keep it moving, though. One word answer, Tony. So our final trade offer here from Atlanta, from Landry Fields, is John Collins for Duncan, Yurt, and 27. Yes or no?
If I'm pressed, yes.
Brian.
Repeat the trade one last time.
John Collins from West Palm Beach, Florida, for Duncan Robinson, Omer, and the 27th pick.
Yeah, I do it.
Okay.
I do it, but
damn, that's one word, man. I said one word.
No, but I just want to say with a caveat.
We're the worst people for this, bro.
I do it in the event that the Tyler Duncan package doesn't get me what I want. Then yes.
Cool. We'll keep it moving. Brian, pick another number.
10.
Number 10.
I was born on January 10th.
All right. This isn't very exciting, but some of these are kind of lame, but we'll make them go quick.
Should I pick another number then?
No. This is Nico Harrison, Dallas Mavericks, calling you up.
The hell are you calling me for? All right, let's get it.
Mark Cuban wanted us to call you. First of all, we assume you're tampering, so we're just going to check into that. Second thing is, we got this big guy. I know you guys are kind of interested in the market of a big guy. I was just kind of gauging your interest. Dwight Powell, I mean, maybe he interests you a little bit. And I know, we have Luka. He's really emerging. He's not available, but Luka, we just want to surround him with shooters. And I know you guys got a shooter that kind of fell out of your rotation. Would you trade Duncan Robinson for Dwight Powell? And let me
straight up,
really quick, straight up. I don't even need a pick. He's 6'10", 240. He is on an expiring $11 million deal. Gets you out of that money. He can stretch the floor a little bit. He plays hard. He started. Some people don't know why he started, but we did go to the Western Conference Finals. Duncan Robinson for Dwight Powell. What'd you thinking? And in the chat, let us know.
It's kind of a better defensive version of this guy we had a while back who had a twitch issue that's no longer on our roster, but he kind of reminds me of that. I'm going to get back to you because I'm fielding other calls for Duncan Robinson, including one earlier made that was an offer including Patrick Beverly, and that intrigues me as well. And, we're also trying to see where else we can do this. But this isn't a no, but this is something that we may circle back to. But I need to see in terms of big picture what this can be. But if that's all, then so be it. I'll leave it there.
Appreciate that.
So somebody said if it's Kleba, and maybe.
Ooh,
that's interesting.
Let me pull up the trade machine.
You're gonna ask Tony one. I'm gonna run to the bathroom because I really have to piss. I've been
Maxi's on a $9 million. That's a tough one because we don't have any salaries in that range. Yes.
Could they just throw in young asset? Obviously, we're not going to do this right now, but that's how they would do it, right? Like a Ja'Cory McElwain or something.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to force your hand because I saw a comment in there that Alonzo Frisbee, he said, big fish first, stop this nonsense. And I agree.
Give it to me.
You got to step it up a little bit. I wanted it random, but you guys are picking bad numbers, basically. So, Tony, phone's ringing. And this one is a three-parter. This is Chad Buchanan from the Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
we got quite a few guys we're looking to trade him. So I think there's 3 guys: Malcolm Brogdon, Miles Turner, and Buddy Hield. I think all 3 could intrigue you in certain ways.
Okay.
So here's my proposals here. If you're interested in Malcolm Brogdon, we're interested in Duncan Robinson. First of all, he's white and he is a shooter, and we are in Indiana. We would also like Gabe Vincent in return, along with the 27th pick and a future first lotto protected. So once again, that would be Malcolm Brogdon for Duncan, Gabe, the 27th pick, and a future first lotto protected. Brian, just to catch you up, I'm Chad Buchanan from the Indiana Pacers. I have 3 guys that I'm throwing out there. I have Malcolm Brogdon for Duncan, Gabe, the 27th, and the future first. I also have Miles Turner on the block. A lot of people are interested in him. Lots of people are calling me about him. I would do that same trade, but instead of Gabe, I would want Yurt. So Duncan, Yurt, 27, and the future first. Or Buddy Hield, great shooter, for Duncan in the 27th. If at any time you'd like me to repeat those trades.
Give me the Buddy Hield one again.
Those last 2 are very interesting. No to the first one, but the last 2?
So crossing out Brogdon. Okay, I understand. You got Kyle Lowry.
He also sneaky. I thought Brogdon was an expiring contract, but he's also sneaky on an extension. He's got a couple more years on his deal.
Yeah, let me pull up the
That's the actual phone ringing right now.
Brogdon, he's making 22.6. He has 3 years, including next year. Just for reference, Miles Turner is on an $18 million expiring. And then Buddy Hield has 2 years left. He's at $21.1 million. So which of those you want me to repeat? Which one intrigues you?
Give me the Buddy one again.
Buddy's on a descending contract. Important to note also.
It is also. Buddy is Duncan in the 27th. You know, I think they're similar players. I think Buddy is a little bit better. That's why I'm asking for the 27th pick.
Okay.
And the chat guys, just keep giving us feedback.
This Malcolm Brogdon play is not happening. It's just not gonna happen, especially not the way that it's constructed. And I'm definitely not giving you a future first. Maybe if you can remove that off the 27th, we'll talk. And if you're willing to come off a Gabe, we'll talk. But otherwise, I just physically threw it. That's out. All right. The other 2, I am quite interested in, and especially this Buddy Hield one, boy. This Buddy Hield one, where you would like Duncan Robinson for Buddy Hield, who is on a 2-year contract, a descending 2-year contract. He is not an expiring. And you're just looking for the 27th, which I'm not going to take anyway.
He really appeals to our fan base, let's be honest with you.
Yeah, that's that. If that deal is on the table, man, for the Heat, being brutally honest, that's one they have to really consider. The Miles Turner thing, in the way that you gave it to me, I get it. You have to get Yurt back because they're going to need a center, right? They need rotational centers there. I get it.
He reminds me a lot of Rick Smits.
Boy, that's a name. It can't be Rick Smits. Well, I guess it can be Rick Smits. Look, if I'm giving up Rick Smits for a guy who makes himself out of Legos, I'm not giving you 2 first-round picks. I'm just not for an expiring contract. I'm not. So we'd have to come off one of those and probably the future first, and maybe we'd look at it, especially if Miami can't find a 4 and we have to adapt the construction. But that Buddy deal, man, that's good if that's there for them. Boy.
Brian, what do you think? Either of those Turner or Buddy trades intrigue you?
So my starting center, I'm not sure it gets along with your starting center. I think that they would actually fit very well together if they were to look past that, which is surprising because my starting center seems to get along with everybody in the NBA, as we're told. But I don't know, your guys, he's weird, I guess. But the Buddy Hield one, it was Duncan and a first for Duncan and 27 for Buddy Hield, right?
Simple stuff, guys.
Yeah,
just 2 things.
Look, it's another one that I'm gonna say it again. Again, we're fielding a lot of Duncan Robinson offers and discussions on the table. So I'm gonna get back to you as well, as I've told other GMs. I'm gonna get back to everybody. I'm gonna be returning all these calls and emails and things of that nature. However, that is probably the best offer that I've gotten for Duncan so far that doesn't involve a Tyler Hero trade. Is the Buddy Hield one. And if I can break out of character and be Brian for a second, my co-host Timmy on the Bahama Rican Boys, who is from the Bahamas, he forget it. He'll be drunk for an entire month straight.
And shout out to Alonzo in the chat. I've referenced him a couple of times. He did make a good point. He said, if you take Buddy Hield or any of these guys on draft night, because remember, we're talking, this is happening on draft night, we're going to miss out on a big player. You trade that Duncan Robinson contract on Thursday,
unless
you no longer have the vehicle, unless
you're
going to trade Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm not as on board with as other people are, but I'm going to shut up because I want to pick another number. And
also Alonzo, like when I'm doing this experiment, I'm pretending that these trades are what we have, right? Not what else has happened in the NBA or what other trades we can make. I'm just pretending this is what I got. How would I do it?
Perfect. Let's go, Brian. Go ahead.
One. Start
Number
right at the
one.
top.
You
Let's
must have
go
known
right
at the
to
top of the list was going to be a good one. All right.
Mhm.
Are you ready?
Yeah, because I got 7 and 10, and I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
I want one now. Because you probably went in order from
yeah.
like biggest bang to like, at the end.
You're right.
That's going to be the
So,
porpoise.
We're gonna kind of go off of some reporting that happened yesterday from one of the members of the basement, Adam Barai, and this is Troy Weaver from the Detroit Pistons. I'm up here in Detroit. We got a young group that's playing very well. We're kind of rising up, but I'm not sure what we're going to do with Jeremy Grant. I'm not really sure if he still wants to be here. We kind of gave him a lot of money, and then we don't really have a whole lot of direction, to be honest with you. I don't really know what we're doing. So we're going to figure it out here with the draft. But I'm thinking, with our guard play, we could use another shooter. And the market was kind of set the other day, unfortunately for us, with Christian Wood going for basically nothing in a first. So what I'm thinking here is, I really wanted to ask you for Duncan 27 and a future first with that lotto protection, but the freaking Rockets screwed me on that one. So I can't really ask for that future first anymore. So Jeremy Grant for Duncan in the 27th. What are you thinking?
Tony.
And if you guys want to toss in the chat, of course, just let us know.
I had
Duncan 27 for Jeremy Grant.
I had a conversation with the Pacers GM, who I've been getting offers for Duncan Robinson all day. And the Pacers GM, whose name is escaping me, but who cares? We can call him Larry Bird for all I care.
Chad Buchanan, of course.
Yeah, okay, cool. Larry Bird called and offered Buddy Hield 27 and Duncan Robinson. And while I do like the offer very much, and I'm going to get back to him, your offer for Duncan Robinson with Jeremy Grant instead of Buddy Hield intrigues me significantly more because of what I think he can perhaps do next to Bam and Jimmy. I feel like maybe he was a little bit miscast on your team where he had too much of the offensive load, but that was out of necessity, and that's why he went there. I feel like he doesn't want to be where he was in Denver anymore, and we could get him somewhere in between. So I do like this offer, though. I do want to.
Let me just remind you. I don't want to confuse you. I don't want to mislead you. I just want to remind you. I know we gave Jeremy a lot of money. He is on the last year of his contract. He's making just under $21 million, and he's really not about that whole extension life with us. So I don't know. Obviously we can figure that out with you. So that's why it's hard for us because we've been shopping him around. Of course, we're calling Sacramento. Those guys are idiots. We're calling all these teams, and nobody's really sure because of the extension what they want to give up. You can't give up multiple firsts for a guy that's not extended. And that's where, we're trying to tell Jeremy, he's just not listening to us. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I'd probably take this deal, but out of curiosity, because I don't want to give up Kyle Lowry for this. But I do wonder if we can get a third team involved because there's another guy on your team that I kind of miss. I felt like he played with Bam well, and he's making $12.8 million next year, and then another 12 after.
Yeah,
and Kelly Olynyk
16.7 per this year.
Like Kelly Olynyk,
PR is strong with Kelly.
So I think we're gonna make some calls and try to get a third team involved because I would like to compensate you a little bit more to make this a Jeremy Grant Kelly Olynyk thing, if you don't mind.
I just emailed you highlight tapes of Kelly keepers. The little dribble handoff thing you guys like to do. He's very good at faking it.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
You probably teach Bam how to do that. Since Bam
we miss Kelly, and so does his skin. He needs a tan. So I we'll get back to you on that.
So do you guys? Let's kind of break out of character for a second. Is Duncan in 27 enough typically when you are a fan base and you're like send it in
for Jeremy
yes,
Grant,
yes.
I think they need more.
So would you attach if I came with that future first in addition, the lotto protection, would you do that?
I'm not choosing KO over Tucker, Alonso. I said we're getting a third team involved. We're keeping Tucker too. All right. Remember, we got Andy Ellisberg. He figures out all this shit. You got Jimmy Butler with like Hassan Whiteside, a pick, and Josh Richardson. All right. Everybody's coming. Fuck that. What was your question, Sean? Oh yeah, I think yeah, you need more. You need more.
So what do you think you would attach? I mean, the other things that we've talked about are obviously there's Tyler. I don't think you attach Tyler in that deal.
No.
I'm offering pick swaps. That's as far as I'm gonna go.
Pick swaps.
Look, is Yurt good enough, promising enough to keep me away from wanting Jeremy Grant?
Fuck no.
No.
The thing with Jeremy Grant though,
want from him because Detroit's got Isaiah Stewart, they got Luka Garza, they got.
I think there's a world where Omer could be better than Isaiah Stewart though. Like
you do different things, but yeah, I mean,
but here's my thing though. Breaking out of character, as you said, with Jeremy Grant, the extension, I need to know where that is and what he would be looking for because a max contract is not happening. Okay, like I'm absolutely not doing that. If you're talking 100 for 4 years, like that's a reasonable starting point where we could discuss some things. I wouldn't feel great about that either, to be honest. But I'm not like the contract extension is a big thing for me.
All right, Tony, you ready?
Give me 13.
All right. It's a long distance call, international call here. This is I got the side next to me. Toronto Raptors. There's been a lot of noise about my guy, and I think it's been rumored you guys are interested. His name's OG Anunoby. Familiar with him? Okay.
You have an OG already, Tony. Remember that.
Yeah, very good player. But I'm not sure what we're going to do. We've got a lot of guys. We're going to got to figure out our build, after we won that championship a couple years ago. Precious is doing great, by the way. Just want to let you guys know he's shooting.
Yeah, we heard.
Now.
Yeah.
He's even catching the ball. It's crazy. But what I was thinking was I got a lot of people calling about OG. And I've heard, there's some rumors that you guys might be willing to get rid of Tyler Hero. And I think he could be a guy that could do very well. I don't know how it's going to affect his fashion game in Toronto, but we'll figure it out. And so here's my proposal if you're interested. I was thinking maybe like something around like Tyler, Duncan, the 27th, and again, a future first. How do you feel about that?
Oh, you were testing my loyalties, buddy.
Tony.
You were testing my loyalties. I hang up this phone. And I hang up this phone as a play. I want to be clear. This conversation, in order for it to happen, if it's happening with Tyler Hero involved, and God, I really can't imagine giving up Duncan and Tyler for OG alone. I just couldn't do it. But if it's happening, it sure as hell ain't happening with all those picks coming out of our pocket. I would need to be incentivized in this fashion. Now, I know Tyler has to be extended, and I understand that that's a negative. I know. See, this is a deal I don't think happens. This is a hang up for me, and that tested my fucking loyalty because I love OG. Love him.
So, and I'll go to Brian too, and I see in the chat most people are saying no to this. So the proposal I
no
sent
for me too,
OG,
dog. No
OG
for me
for
as well.
Tyler, Duncan, 27, and a future first lotto protected. First of all, salary wise, I'm trying to remember now. I don't think you need Tyler in the deal, but
you don't.
Toronto's not doing this for Duncan and picks,
Agreed.
unless you're giving him a boatload of picks. But still, so Tyler almost has to be in the deal for Toronto because otherwise they're going to get outbid. There's going to be better offers than Duncan and picks. So, is the hang up on the the future first, because I feel like a lot of people 27 to us is not. It's not that it's not important, but like we already said earlier, like we would rather trade into the second round. So like adding the 27th at this point is like whatever. So I mean, if I said Duncan, Tyler, and the 27th pick, does that change your guys' mood in the chat? Same thing.
To me, it's no. To me, if I'm the executive in this position, I'm trying to talk to you about, you like Tyler because of how portable he is as a scorer. You like the ability that he has to create no matter which lineup you're going to. And since you have no idea what your team construction is right now, if you want to be all 6'9", except for Fred VanVleet, or put Scotty at point and be all 6'9" all the time, like Tyler can fit into your bench role, your starting role. I would say, hey, buddy, you know who else kind of is portable? Victor Oladipo is kind of portable. Victor Oladipo is kind of portable. Now, we could sign him to a contract that you're comfortable with, you know, so he's not an expiring asset. He's a guy we have bird rights on, so we would love to keep him. But we would also love OG. So I might talk to you a little bit for Duncan and Victor on a sign-in trade, but even that feels kind of not great.
I'm going to come out of character, but if you said I can get OG for Duncan, Vic, and the 27th pick,
And a 27,
I'll carry them both on my back to Toronto.
deal.
From Miami, all the way up 95 across the Niagara Falls. There is no way I'm saying no to that. Absolutely. And I know I'm not a big Vic guy. And first of all, in the chat, they should be giving me credit. How many times have I been trading Duncan Robinson tonight? Everybody comes in my comments and notifications about Duncan Robinson.
Every trade is involved.
Every trade has been Duncan Robinson.
Every single one.
Every one of them. But this is the roster's problem. We got no middle salary guys. We need more.
It's a great point. This is why you this is why you've re-signed PJ Tucker.
This is also, by the way, guys, why you signed Duncan Robinson to this goddamn contract. This is why you do it. It has nothing. It's skill. Yes, we needed him at the time, but we needed this roster. We need the salary more.
You trade contracts more than you trade players in the NBA. It is what it is.
All right, Brian. Number
2.
We already did number 2. Landry Fields. You already hung up on
right.
for John Collins.
4.
We already did 4 too.
Goddamn. 5.
All right. Ben Toby, I like your comment. Daryl's agenda is in shambles. So, all right, number 5. This is Tommy Shepard.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
There we go.
All right, let me get into character.
First thing first, guys. Have you guys heard from Bradley Beal? Because he will not talk to us. It's not good.
Haven't heard.
We're gonna sort that thing out later. We're gonna try to push his deadline a little bit later. But right now,
just look at where his wife
whole
is.
Beal thing is not looking good for us. But we're not gonna trade him on draft night. He's committed to being on a winner. You know, I mean, we're gonna turn it around here eventually.
Yeah.
Remember how good we were when we had Rod Strickland and Mitch Richmond?
Good time.
What was that guy's name? The guy who's real fat from Georgetown, the center.
Michael Sweetney?
Well, him too, but he was in New York. I'll think of the guy's name. Anyways, he's a business guy. Tommy Shepard. But there is a guy in Washington that wants to be in Miami besides Bradley Beal. I can't say that because I'm the GM of the team. I know he wants to be in Miami, but I got to figure this out. Kyle Kuzma. He's been tweeting at you guys, and during the playoff run, he was always tweeting. I tried to take away his Twitter because it was getting annoying to me, but
we have his Eskimo brother as well.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but shoot, I mean,
those were words.
That's interesting, but he's got two kids from the daughter now, or 2 kids from that lady though, so it's all right. So Kyle Kuzma, I'm looking at some shooting again. You know, it pains me, but Duncan Robinson, I think he could be a good fit. You know, he reminds me of a guy. It reminds me a little bit of Corey Kispert that we have here, but he's like a lot cheaper. But we're going to just try it anyway. So how about Kyle Kuzma for Duncan 27 and a future first? So I want 2 firsts with Duncan. I got a younger guy, a little bit more talented, had a great year, probably a career year in Washington. What are you thinking?
All right. I'm going to counter offer you because while I like Kyle Kuzma, I need to know about the big guy. Because I know he's saying he's committed, but he's been doing this shit for a long time, or whatever the case may be. And I wanna.
That's on me twice, man. It kills me.
I want to counter you because we do like you've heard about us and talking about Donovan Mitchell and, Zach LaVine, but Bradley Beal is somebody that we value very highly in this organization. And we do have Tyler Hero. If you're interested, he would be the centerpiece of this package going back to you. But we need to figure something out in terms of making the money work. I don't know if it's a 3-team or whatever, but
1 second. But the big guy, are you talking Bradley Beal or Kristaps Porzingis?
I'm talking about fucking Bradley Beal. I don't care about Kristaps Porzingis.
Because I haven't had anybody call me.
Yeah. No.
I was excited about that.
I'll talk about the money. Bradley Beal, and I don't think the money quite works if we're doing Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Omer Yurtseven, and multiple first-round picks, but that's the framework of what we would be talking about here. Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Omer Yurtseven, multiple first-round picks. If we have to get a third team involved, so be it. If you'd be interested to open this up even further to Bradley Beal and Kyle Kuzma, I'll listen.
Wow. Well,
I got a crazy one for this too.
I'm on the trade machine because I'm Tommy Shepard, and I don't, you guys have Andy Ellisberg to figure these things out, but I just go to the damn ESPN trade machine. I don't have calculators.
He's on fanspo.com right now.
I am on fanspo.com right now. Yeah, it's a nice site. It's a lot better than that ESPN trade machine.
Oh, it's so much.
I've got Duncan, Tyler, Gabe, Omer, still not enough salary. Let's see, what else can I add in there? Strusey, I like him. Throw him in there. Let's see if that's enough. No, I don't know, guys. I don't know if there's enough salary unless you start, signing and trading guys, and this is gonna get real complicated.
Yeah, but if we could break character real quickly, just to like move on with this, like I think because I'm somebody who's like I prefer Donovan Mitchell than Bradley Beal. I don't think I'm alone in that either. I'm somebody who's always been like sort of like Beal. I'm not sure, whatever the case may be. But it's one of those things where it's like if I feel like that front office can make it work, then so be it, right? Because they're the Miami Heat, they know better. Andy Ellisberg, Pat Riley, et cetera, et cetera. If it looks like a Hero, Duncan, Yurt, multiple firsts, not much more than that. However, if the Kyle Lowry thing comes into play if you're going to open it up this far, and for Bradley Beal alone, it might. But I think if you can figure out a way to get Beal and Kuzma and not have to dig too deep into your roster, that might be interesting. But I think that would require Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. Like it would require a lot. And then picks and et cetera. And then you would be starting Gabe Vincent as your point guard at that point. But I think Kyle Kuzma, you joke about perfect big next to Bam, Sean, and Kyle Kuzma, I actually think he fits because he rebounds, he passes, he shoots well, and that dude is Miami. So I think Kyle Kuzma and Bradley Beal will be good, but they have to make the mechanics work, and I just don't have the bandwidth for that right now. We got to move on. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, and I know Greg has talked about, and we don't know what we're doing. We're just using the trade machine, but like there are ways that you can make this trade happen. Not both of them, but with Beal, without having Lowry involved, it just gets very complicated. Without knowing the exact thing.
Jimmy Butler was a 4-team deal. Multi-team
Andy Ellisberg can figure it out.
That's the thing that people forget.
Nuts.
That's the thing people forget. Like a lot of these deals, these bigger deals, James Harden, multiple teams, like a lot of these trades are just multiple team deals because you need that third team, like, an Oklahoma City or a Cleveland or, Sacramento. They come in and they swoop in and whatever. And then like that is what it is. Because remember, the Jimmy Butler trade, they also got Myers Leonard, right? So, and he was just starting center for most of that season.
Sean, let me swap this. Let me involve you in the game really quickly. I'm Tommy Washington. I'm calling you.
Tommy Shepard from Washington.
Oh, Tommy Shepard.
Tommy Washington's a better name, indisputably.
To be a GM at Washington? Come on, man. Change your name. Okay. I'm calling you. And I really loved when Washington had 2 starting caliber guards that were interchangeable and that could attack. And I love that attack now with the idea of Kristaps Porzingis. But I know that you have holes that you need to fill on the roster. And I know you like that guy, Gabe Vincent. What if I gave you Kyle Kuzma and KCP for Kyle Lowry?
Kentavious Caldwell-Pope?
Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
I'm just making sure because I thought you were saying KP and yeah.
No.
Go ahead, Sean.
KCP and Kuz, and then potentially if you want Ish Smith to fill the guard that you lost, we'll give you Ish Smith as well. But we would want a second back for that.
I like Ish Smith. Sean.
Yeah, I'm someone I'm still supportive of the Kyle Lowry thing. I think he had unfortunate circumstances with his family. He got out of shape because of that, and then that led to the injury. Man, I mean, if you do this trade, Gabe Vincent is your starting point guard.
Right.
With Tyler, you can still trade Duncan in another deal.
Can you get Tyus Jones to sign the mid-level?
Oh, man. No, but
now you have your guard rotation and you have your forward.
Because
right?
you would have Tyler as your starting 2. You'd have KCP as your backup 2. You'd have Jimmy. You'd have Kuzma next to Bam. You'd have PJ behind Kuz in a limited, like a backup role where you can manage him. So really the only thing you have to fill is your backup 3, which could be Duncan if you didn't trade him. Or you still have Spruce. And you need a backup center if it's not.
Or you could flex KCP into that position.
I don't think I would do it. It does make a lot of sense. I mean, I think
I'm not doing it.
But
it's a good trade though, right? Like it's something we would have to think about.
In the chat, what do you guys think? Kyle Lowry for Kyle Kuzma and KCP, and we won't even talk about the draft compensation. What do y'all think?
I think the Heat actually
no.
I think the Heat actually need to give up a pick in that deal to Washington because I think Washington wants a pick for Kuzma. Maybe it's 27. I don't know.
They can probably request it because Kuzma's on a 2-year deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's not an expiring asset.
I mean, for me, it's like I'm with Sean on the Kyle Lowry thing. Like, a lot of people are running to trade him, and I'm not there at all because I respect what he did for 85-90% of the season last year.
Yeah, Three's company. I'm with you.
He was such an integral part of what they did, and it fell apart a little bit at the end. But I'm not somebody who's going to cast somebody away and just discard them after one season. I think you could still win with him there, his salary there. So no, I'm not doing that. And if I am doing Kyle Lowry deal, it's going to be a bigger one than Kyle Kuzma and KCP. As much as I do like Kyle Kuzma and KCP.
Let me break back it into being Tommy Shepard. Why the hell do I need Kyle Lowry? Like my team's going nowhere fast anyway. So how does he help me?
To flip him.
I mean, I guess
that would really be it. But it's like one thing that concerned me about Bradley Beal is, and I like Spencer Dinwiddie a lot because I cover him when he was the Nets, and he was probably my favorite player to cover there, just in terms of conversationally, et cetera, et cetera. Dinwiddie's numbers with Bradley Beal were awful, and when Bradley Beal did not play, they were great. It was like 10-5 without Bradley Beal, or with Bradley Beal, and like 18-7 without. And you see what he did in Dallas, helping them get to the Western Conference Finals. That's a little bit of a red flag for me, but I just wanted to point that out.
All right, so I have a couple left. I'm going to rapid fire them. So I'm going to have you guys give me like a thumbs up, thumbs down type of deal.
Yes.
And we want to talk very quickly about them because I know we've been going about 90 minutes. So
yes.
All right, so here's what I got left. Ring. It's Monty McNair from the Sacramento Kings. Okay, first of all, I've been watching the show.
It's all you, Tony.
I've been watching the show. Okay, I've been on the live stream. I don't like how everybody's calling in and making fun of the Kings. They're talking about how we're mismanaged. I have 1 year left on my contract. I got to do something. I'm going to lose my job. And you know what? To be honest with you, losing my job might be the best thing for my career because I can get the hell out of Sacramento. Anyways, so I got this guy, Harrison Barnes. I know he's been talked about before. We almost had a little conversation with him last trade deadline. And there's this guy that, I just think he fits well. He fits well next to Bam. He won championships. Let's see what he's got. Let's go Duncan 27 and a future first, lotto protected.
Potentially, yes, but I like the Jeremy Grant offer more. So.
It's so. I wish his contract wasn't expiring. I would do so much for that man if he was on 2 years. It's tough with the contract expiring, but yes, I think we need him to fill the role, and he would be a great role filler, and I think we could have a chance at re-signing him after.
I think of all the Duncan trades we discussed, the Duncan only ones where he's a centerpiece. It's not my favorite because of the extra first. If it was Duncan and 27 for Harrison Barnes, I'd probably do that. If that's assuming I've tried to move Duncan around, and again, but that's something I would have to come back to because I like other offers more.
Okay, so let me ask this. Duncan 27, that lotto protected future first. Do you do it for Jeremy Grant? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah, I probably do.
We're flopped.
I think, but it depends on the extension. It depends on the extension. If he wants too much fucking money, then no.
Okay, so would you do that same trade, the Duncan 27 future first lotto protected for Harrison Barnes? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Wow, so we're split. One each you are on different sides.
Yeah.
So in both cases, Harrison Barnes on an $18 million expiring. Grant is on.
I don't want to move Duncan by himself though. Like I'd prefer to move him with Tyler because I think they could get back a star. But
I think you can agree.
I could only do that, and I like Tyler Hero to be clear. But I'm saying like if I'm doing the Tyler Hero Duncan whatever package, I feel like that's going to land in a significant upgrade, one. So
I think we can all agree on this. If Duncan is getting moved by himself, it has to be for a starting caliber forward.
Yeah.
Right?
Grant, Barnes, guys we're talking about. I wasn't in on the Christian Wood thing, by the way. I just wanted to say that. But so Jeremy Grant is a tentative yes because of the contract extension. Because I'm not overpaying to just keep him, right? And Barnes is like, I do it for 1 first-round pick, not 2.
We had in the chat, where was it at? Ja said, let's keep the package the same this time, but it's Duncan 27 and Omer instead of the future first. Would you do that for Jeremy Grant?
It's an asset. I can't do it.
Brian?
Yeah, I don't know if I do. I might want to use Omer for something else or just keep him.
Duncan 27 and Omer for Jeremy Grant. I do it.
You do it?
Yeah.
Duncan, even though he might
Barnes,
request.
No, Jeremy Grant, I could be talked into it, I think.
I do it for
you guys, but don't you guys fear the re-sign? Like he's gonna want so much more than Harrison Barnes would want.
That's why for me it's tentative. It's tentative.
Sure. That's an unknown. I mean, obviously, in Grant's 28 and Barnes.
I like Grant
God damn the defense that they could have. Like, and PJ Tucker could take a break. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, come on. What else, John? What else? Because we got to power through some of these.
All right. Michael Winger, LA Clippers. We got a couple guys that kind of fit those molds.
Clippers.
Robert Covington and Marcus Morris. They're both expiring deals. They're both in that same price range. Would you trade Duncan for either of those guys? We have a little bit of a log jam in our team. We have a pretty deep team. We're probably going to win the championship next year the way that we're looking at Kawhi and Paul George are back. Would you trade Duncan so we get a shooter out there? Maybe he can play the one wing and Luke Kennard's on the other. Man, that's those Leches. Is that what you guys call it down there? Robert Covington or Marcus Morris. And if you guys don't know, you guys have Markieff as his brother. You're twins. So would you trade Duncan for either of those two guys?
More so Marcus, because I think Robert Covington's a little bit overrated defensively. More so Marcus, and then I would re-sign Markieff to a veteran minimum contract.
Keith can go.
It's just look, he looked okay before he got popped and he never recovered. I kind of want them together. So I would do it for Marcus though. But again, it's one of those things where it's like you want to see what Duncan can get you otherwise.
I couldn't have said yes faster to Duncan Marcus Morris. Boy, yes. Yes.
What else?
You can go back in time to the trade deadline. I think you probably make that trade, right?
But Alonzo is right. I'm asking for Batum first. And I know that pisses people off, but I am.
I will correct myself, too. They are not on expiring deals. They both are on 2-year deals.
Still.
Covington makes 12. Marcus makes about 16.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep it moving.
Perfect fit
Covington,
next to Bam. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Covington, not as much. Marcus, though, I mean, and you want to talk about Heat guys like that. He's a Heat player. So is his brother.
All right, we'll keep it moving. Calvin Booth from the Denver Nuggets. Who knew Calvin Booth was the Nuggets GM?
I did, actually.
Did you know? He was really good in like live NBA Live 99, I would say. Like
he sucked in 04.
For the old heads.
Okay.
We got this guy, Will Barton. We're not really sure what to do with him. We got a good team. We're thinking he could probably help you guys, and we're again kind of looking for some more like gravity around Jokic and hopefully Jamal Murray's back. So another Duncan trade. Will Barton for Duncan and the 27th.
I like Will Barton, but oh man, and
Just
the 27th.
He's on an expiring deal also.
Boop. And the 27th, that's tough. And just Will Barton, like I wish he was a better shooter, but I like a lot of what he can do in terms of his versatility, his playmaking, and his ignite ability and all that shit.
I'll talk to you about Aaron Gordon. I won't talk to you about Will Barton. I need 4s for Duncan.
Yeah, I need a better Duncan. No, it's just damn. I like Will Barton though, but no.
All right, looks like a nose, and then looks in the chat, a whole lot of nose too. So calling now. Hey, it's Dwayne Wade. What's up, guys? Just letting y'all know.
I want to hear about the big 7'2" fucking center. All right,
I got your book. Wait,
not here to talk about Donovan Mitchell. We're going to keep him here, and probably, you know what? I would not wish Rudy Gobert on you guys. I still believe he culture. So
wait. You're not calling about Donovan Mitchell, Dwayne? You're not.
I'm turning the phone over to Danny Ainge. He's been bugging me. He knew if he just called, you guys
would pick up.
Him, so
yeah,
Danny's here now. Another Duncan trade. Bojan Bogdanovic.
No.
Duncan in the 27th.
No. No. I only want to hear about Mitchell.
That might be your bias speaking.
Hero, Duncan, Yurt. I don't care. Like you want, like whatever. Hero, Duncan, Yurt, picks, Mitchell. I don't want to hear about Bojan Bogdanovic.
We might gotta talk to him.
Expiring.
We might gotta talk to him. Wait, you want to pick from us too?
No. Yeah.
For Bojan?
Yeah.
For a 33-year-old expiring player?
The 27th pick, guys. Yeah, you guys didn't even care.
I think Bojan does fit. He's like a better Kelly Olynyk and shorter, but like no.
Yeah,
agree. I'm not.
I would without the pick. Duncan for Bogdanovic.
I only want to talk about Donovan Mitchell if it's Utah. I have no interest in anybody else on their roster, really.
I need compensation. To take that. That's a loss for the Heat on every side, I think.
Raymond says call Atlanta and do that for Bogey. And
I was gonna bring up Bogey, but we were talking for so fucking long. I stopped.
Bogey's interesting. Interesting. He feels like a guy that would go over well in Miami also. So
I got 2 left.
Yes.
Mitch Kupchak from the Charlotte Hornets.
Oh. Sorry about Kenny Atkinson. I think he would have been a great fit.
Yeah, really weird, guys. I learned about it on Twitter. I didn't even know. Yeah. Kelly Oubre Jr.
out. I'm probably out on this.
For Duncan Robinson.
No, not doing it.
Yes.
No,
yep.
It's a
doing
no
it
for me. Nope.
It's a yes from me, dog.
Kind of the same thought process as Will Barton. Kelly Oubre is a almost $13 million expiring.
Nope. Too streaky.
Athleticism.
Don't give a fuck. Athleticism is overrated.
Yes, Raymond Kelly is.
Say
expired.
that to pre-ACL Caleb. We're looking pretty good, man. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not doing it for Kelly Oubre. No.
Tony said yes. Would you do Duncan in that 27th pick for Kelly?
For Oubre? No, I can't give up picks for expirings. It's just not in my. I know teams do it. It's for me. I just don't like it.
All right. Well, the last one actually.
Oubre and PJ for Duncan in 27. Someone says in the comments. Is that even possible? Is PJ still under contract, or is he not a restricted free agent? I'm not even sure. But
I thought he was. Yeah,
it's an option for him next year. I think he's finishing up his rookie.
When was he drafted? 19 or 18? If it was 18, then he's going to be a restricted free agent.
Oubre and PJ with a team option, though. PJ with a team option is a hell of an asset.
I think it's an extension.
He's extension eligible this summer. So no, if it was PJ before, maybe you could talk me into that. But whatever,
right.
I'm past that.
when I first read that, I was like, we're trading PJ Tucker. I'm like, no, we can't do that. But I got it now. So,
No,
yeah,
Washington.
that's interesting.
Yeah. No. I'm good. I'm good on Charlotte for that. Cool.
I'm not. I'll take him. I'll do it.
It's funny because the last one, number 14, was actually, I was hoping somebody would pick 14 so I could throw it in the middle. It was going to be Daryl Morey. And I was
boy.
We're just going to try to see if you guys wanted James, Tobias, Thibault, Danny Green, any of our bad contracts. We have no clue what the hell we're doing here. Like, Joel's great, but the rest of
I have absolutely
great.
I have less than negative interest in James Harden. I've never liked him he's actually one of my least favorite players in the NBA. It's him and Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons. They're all fighting for the top spot.
Well, 76ers.
There's
we didn't draft Bo Cruz, man. We should have drafted Bo Cruz.
There's a I still have to watch that movie actually, and I'm going to. There was a rumor on Twitter as we were going here about the Heat's interest in Joel Embiid or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, look, that better not include Bam is all I'm going to say. There's nobody on Philly that I would probably want. Probably nobody. So
nobody?
No, they're not trading Tyrese Maxey.
I'm just saying, but nobody.
They're not trading Tyrese Maxey. If they were trading Tyrese Maxey, but then you would need to trade Tyler Hero. Would you do that?
Nope. Well,
George Niang on a $3.4 million expiring.
I'm cool, man.
I'm good.
I'm cool.
Nobody on that team interests me.
$2 million expiring.
Oh, the G League MVP that was going to change the series for them, B-Ball Paul. They said to put respect on his name in the spaces. Never forget that.
Oof.
I'm good. I'm
rough,
super good. I don't want good.
It's a rough one.
Good.
All right, guys. Well, we went through a lot of trades. 15, in fact, over this time.
I just want to put this on record. The very first trade that I'm trying to make is the Donovan Mitchell one, and if I can't do that, then everything else just sort of falls from there. But the first thing I'm trying to do is Donovan Mitchell.
Shout out Biscayne Bay Brew. Check them out.
Cosign.
Tropical Bay IPA, all that stuff. Yeah, great sponsor. Let's close it up since we've been in here forever. Kind of closing thoughts, kind of what Brian just said. Like, what do you think, with Thursday, not so much about drafting players, but like, do you think a trade's going to happen? Would you wait? Because I think that's the hard thing is if you make these, we've talked about a lot of Duncan trades. If you trade him on Thursday, it could be good, but it also eliminates a lot of paths outside of trading Lowry to get that big fish that we all want. But if you wait and the big fish doesn't come, now you missed out on the smaller fish, the Jeremy Grants and the Harrison Barnes and those types of guys that may go ahead of time. So I'm going to let Tony go first and then Brian, and then I'll close it up.
I think that this team has a real option to add a player or two with the mid-level exception that can be talented and that can help us on the margins, especially when we go deeper into those rotations, to add a little more experience and a little more skill. I would love for them to use that Duncan trade to get the 4, then to go into the season with whatever they can get with the MLE and look at the team and then start to assess it for deadline. Because these players that we want, that we think we can move Lowry for now, probably, honestly, most of the guys that we're talking about are going to most likely be available with the same team that they're on right now at the deadline, with the added pressure of that GM might need to make a move to save his career. And it is up against an artificial deadline. I don't think I really don't want to move Kyle Lowry for any of these names at this moment when all of these players' values are at their highest because there's a bidding war. If Bradley Beal gets stuck with the Wizards and that team sucks going into the deadline, all of a sudden our package might look a lot more appealing to them. And then we can get the guy that we wanted. But I think that you can improve the team marginally with the Duncan pick to still be very, very, very competitive and see how competitive you really are. And then if you need to, you can continue to swing at the deadline. But those names like Harrison Barnes and Jeremy Grant and Nicholas Batum and Marcus Morris, if those names are available, the one guy who needs help right now is PJ Tucker. That man is fighting for his goddamn life.
Well said. Brian, go ahead.
Someone commented SGA, and I completely forgot about him.
The farm. All of it.
for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, look,
All of it.
I would strongly consider the same Tyler, Duncan picks, Omer if you want them for SGA. I would very much consider that. Now, again, my preference is to see what's the best you can do with the Tyler, Duncan, multiple firsts package. And if you have to throw in Omer, so be it. What's the best you can do? If you can get a whale, an orca, whatever, so be it. If you can't, then I would just try to see what you can get for Duncan. So no, I don't think they're going to make a trade Thursday. I think they're going to wait till at least July 1st. But obviously there are going to be discussions and things of that nature. If they do make a trade and it's only involving Duncan, which could be the case, then I think that they're probably not going to get a whale unless Kyle Lowry suddenly becomes available, which I suppose could happen. And I don't know, like, if you want to go into the season with Tyler Hero not having the extension, and then that becomes a situation where, like, are you really going to trade him mid-season, or are you going to sign and trade him next summer, or whatever the case may be? Like, are you going to run it back with him? So there's going to be a lot of things. Last thing I will say is that if they're not going to trade Tyler Hero, I've been saying this, and I know this is a pie in the sky, unlikely scenario, but I am banging the Mo Bamba drum, and he is on the Orlando Magic, and I don't know what his contract is going to be. I don't know if you can get him for the mid-level. He's also restricted. I think it's going to be a sign and trade involving Duncan Robinson and maybe picks or whatever. Sign and trades are not always balanced anyway. And I know Tony would like this. If you could throw in a Terrence Ross and try to make the numbers work as well, and if it's Bamba and Ross, then maybe you can do that as well. That's not something I would dislike if that's like a secondary option or whatever the case may be, because I do think Bamba fits really well next to Bam from the standpoint of somebody who can shoot and who can block shots and protect the rim when Bam is switching out onto guards. Not because Bam is a fucking 4, he's a 5. Bamba would probably be the 4 there, but this is positionless anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, and you remember we did this exercise as if it was draft night. So Mo Bamba isn't someone you can trade for because he's a restricted free agent. So
right.
I do agree. That's something when if it gets to July, you still have Duncan Robinson. You can't get that whale. He's definitely a guy that would be considered because of the way that he fits next to Bam. I really think it's a great fit. And you would have to figure out what his contract is going to be too. So interesting stuff. Thank you guys. I know we had somewhere around 200 pretty much the whole time, and you've been listening to us ramble on about memories and going through trade packages and me trying to act out as if I was different GMs and all that stuff.
Jordan, to answer your question, yes. If you do a sign and trade for Mo Bamba, you would still have the mid-level because you would be doing a sign and trade. So I'm pretty sure.
It would be a hard cap because we're the team that's getting someone in a sign and trade.
Yeah.
I don't think that really.
I don't think you have the 10 million mid-level. You probably have the taxpayer one, but whatever.
You have to,
yeah. So that's like 5. That's like 5, 6. So less of a mid-level, but you'd still have something.
All right. Well, guys, thank you for coming in. We kind of threw this together today. Came up with some ideas. There'll be more content. Obviously, Greg was with us earlier, so thanks, Greg, for coming in. He was recording 5 on the floor, so either that's out now, soon, tomorrow morning. I know Brady's got a lot of stuff going on with the draft. Myself, Tony, Brian, everybody's pumping out content. We're doing good stuff. We got some good stuff coming with Fansided. Check out Biscayne Bay Brew. Check out Better Edge. I did not make any bets tonight because I've been getting my ass handed to me the last couple of days, but I was on a winning streak for a while, so we'll get it back tomorrow. We'll figure it out. Tony's got some bets tonight. Check that out. It's good stuff. We're going to be putting out some content with Better Edge. They're doing good stuff with us. And, anybody got any closing words before we end it up?
Yes, DG Sports Talk. Absolutely no to Jonathan Isaac. And I'm Puerto
Never
Rican.
in your life.
I'm Puerto Rican, and I can't get there with him either. I just can't.
What if we got Jonathan Isaac and Kyrie?
Oh, I'm logging off. Holy fuck. Y'all don't
we're not going to have a roster to complete the team.
Y'all, but some people have saying that they want Kyrie. They don't want Kyrie. Trust me, you do not want those problems. Absolutely not. Alejandro, take us out. We're done.
Please, man.